Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the February 16th, 2018 edition of the Intuit Developer Friday Morning Hangout. I've crossed out morning because this is actually a special edition. This is our UK edition of the Friday Morning Hangout. So yes, even though it's super early morning for me, it's early morning a little bit for our guest, Kunal. It's noon in London for those of you in London that are watching this live. And just like last week, we did the experiment. We went to Facebook Live. So this is actually being streamed on Facebook Live as well. If you don't want to come into the Zoom Meet, the webinar, and use that format, you can always watch it on Facebook Live. And after the fact, like always, we'll post this up to Facebook, and to YouTube. So any of you that are watching on YouTube after the fact, good morning and hello to you. I'm your host, David Leary. I'm Intuit's Global Small Business Ecosystem Evangelist. You can follow me on Twitter at David Leary. Today we have a special guest leading up to the Small Business Hack London event, Small Business Hackathon. Kunal Batra, he's the head of developer relations at Clarifai. He's going to come on and tell us all about the Clarifai APIs, what we can do with them, what people can build. Hopefully he's going to tell us what prizes he's going to have at the Hackathon next weekend. And believe it or not, it's actually, I think we're down to the last 8 days, 10 days from now, and we have this hackathon. So I'm just do some administrative things here as people still file in and arrive. If my mouse will click. There we go. Just a reminder, again, for the third year in a row, we are doing the $100,000 app showdown. You have 180 days to get your app onto apps.com, live on apps.com, and entered into the contest. So I recommend for a lot of you, don't wait until August 14th to submit your app. You have to pass all the review process, et cetera. So you're looking at probably, shoot for July 1st, right? Or if you're already now, launch now, right? So you get some momentum. But essentially what we do is we take the top 10, all the new apps that publish within that year period, we take the top 10 to QuickBooks Connect in San Jose. They pitch in front of a panel of judges, and the winner takes home $100,000. But it's not just about winning the money. We actually do a big promotional campaign for all the finalists. For example, just 3 days ago, we were at Startup Grind, and we brought the finalists with us to participate in Startup Grind. So we're helping these apps get more exposure. So it's a really good stepping stone for new apps to be able to cut through a lot of the noise that's out there in the market. We're kind of backing your success and helping you out along the way. So again, 180 days left. You have to for that contest. And I just mentioned it, QuickBooks Connect is coming up November 5th through 7th in San Jose, California. I know a lot of you are watching this right now are probably in London and the UK. Yes, a trip to San Jose might be a little out of your time, budget constraints, et cetera. Still consider it. It's the big one. It's a huge, amazing event. And we have content there for developers and content for small businesses and accountants. And you're bringing the whole into QuickBooks ecosystem under one roof. But good news is we do have a QuickBooks Connect event coming to you. So we are coming to London the 27th and 28th of February. We will, again, it's very similar to the US event. We will have content for developers there at this event. Coincidentally, I did do a screenshot of the website. I just happened to catch the video playing. So these three guys, this is an app called Arbitrue. They came to the hackathon last year, won the hackathon, and now their app's going to go live on apps.com. So they've kind of gone from showing up to a hackathon to actually becoming a real business in this last 12 months. And they were just a developer like you that showed up to the hackathon. With that said, the reason we're all really here is the Small Business Hackathon for London is next weekend. It's very, very soon. I know I'm flying in next Wednesday. I'm not sure when our guest Kunal is flying in. Maybe he'll let us know, but that's the 24th and 25th of February. Show up. All you have to do is build an app or build something that solves a small business problem. And we have some great partners we're bringing on. So obviously Clarifai is here. Nexmo is participating, Estimote, and the QuickBooks API. So there's a lot of different tools to get really creative and really solve those pain points for small businesses. And so you just go to smallbizhacklondon.com and register for that. And then last but not least, this and all other events that we're doing, the Hangouts, future Hangouts, other events the developer team is doing, you can always go to developer.intuit.com/hub/events and see all those events that are coming up. And without further ado, I'm going to stop sharing here. Give me a moment. And then, Kunal, if you want to go off mute.
Hey, guys.
Hey, good morning, Kunal. Thanks for joining us.
Perfect.
I'll give you, I know you're going to share a deck or start teaching us about Clarifai, but do you want to tell us a little about yourself before you jump in?
Yeah. So my name is Kunal. I run developer relations at Clarifai. And then let me go ahead and share my screen and explain a little bit about Clarifai and go on from there. Sweet. Okay, so again, my name is Kunal. I run developer relations for Clarifai, and let me just load up my editor here. So Clarifai is a machine learning AI API. We focus in on computer vision. So what that means is you can send us any video or photo, and Clarifai will tell you what it sees. And we have primarily three operations you can do with Clarifai. You can do predictions. So you can send us videos or photos, and then we have a certain select public models, and we'll tell you what we see with those models. And I'll show examples and go into that.
So if I take a picture of a coffee cup, your API is going to return that's a coffee cup.
That's right. That's right.
Okay. Got it.
And you can choose out of sets of public models, which I'll showcase in a bit. But yeah, you can say coffee cup, and then you can go even more granular and look at different types of foods based on if you use our food model. It's pretty cool. The other two operations you can do is search. So you can upload photos of your business inventory to us. And then from there, if a customer wants to find something similar to another item that they have, let's say like a shirt, it'll bring up all the similar looking items that your business has. So it's kind of like search, Google's image search primarily. And the other one is called create. So instead of using our models, you can create your own models. And I have a fun one that I was working on for an internal hackathon I'll showcase. So you might be wondering, what are the major use cases for Clarifai? And we tend to have four big ones. Moderation tends to be one of our biggest use cases. So anytime a site has any sort of user-generated content, you can use Clarifai to see, is that safe for work, not safe for work? Is it safe for life, not safe for life? Is it suggestive, not suggestive? You know, are there drugs in the photo? Something like that. You can go into like very levels of details for moderation, but that tends to be one of our biggest use cases. The other one is organization, kind of like we touched upon before with the coffee cup. You can give us a photo or a video, and then from there we can kind of tag everything that we're seeing in that. And then you can use that to, again, organize your inventory, organize your photos, search on that afterwards. And then the third use case is search and discovery, which I mentioned before, kind of search by visual similarity for an image or search by tags that we automatically see in an image. And then custom. So we're never going to be able to solve for all your problems. So we want you to create custom models. And I know this is kind of like high level. I'm just kind of talking about it. We'll go into examples and I'll showcase that. So let's start with that. So one of the things, the first thing that I want to show an example of is prediction. And prediction, again, you can send us a photo, you can choose one of our public models, and then we'll give you back the results. So we have a model here. This is if you go to clarifai.com/models, you can see a list of all our public models. And again, there are 18 of these. So basically you can choose a public model like apparel, and it'll return back whatever apparel it sees in that image. Celebrities, which is a fun one, not only will tell you what celebrity sees in an image, it'll tell you what celebrity you look like. And we'll do that in a second. Demographics is one we tend to see a lot with marketing orgs. They kind of use that to kind of see what type of customers come into their store, and use that for kind of more effective ads being sent out.
And so these are sample projects that are out there on your website?
No, these are not sample projects. These are actually skills. A model is essentially a skill that we've taught Clarifai how to see.
Okay, got it. So these are an example. Okay, got it.
Yeah. So these are like basically a logical grouping of concepts, and you can choose that in your code and say, look, for example, here's the food model. Basically, you load this model up in your code and then take a photo, send it to Clarifai, and it'll tell you, as is an example here, everything it sees in that photo in food.
Okay.
Right. So because this is a developer event, I wanted to showcase something fun. And so we're going to use a celebrity model, and we're going to see what celebrity this guy looks like. So I got this photo, found the URL for it, and then let me go to that tab, have some pre-made code over here. But essentially what's going on is this is Python. If you're familiar with Python, we're just importing the Clarifai libraries, initializing the Clarifai app with our API key. And then from there, we're loading up the celebrity model. And then we can pass in to clarify a URL of an image. We can pass in the bytes of an image if the photo's local. And from there, we're going to just print out what the celebrity looks like. So let's go ahead and run that and see what celebrity, David, you look like. Ooh. Eric Idle. Are you familiar with Eric Idle? Sorry, it might be on you.
No, yeah, I'm gonna have to Google him. Not totally.
So I did this. I did this beforehand. Okay, so that's your apparently according to Clarifai.
Oh, yeah, no, I know this now.
Yeah. So this is just a quick example. So our public models are that skills essentially that we've taught Clarifai and how to see the world. Apparel is great for your business if you want to just get inventory. You can use a whole bunch of other models that we have over here. Our general model tends to be pretty much like anything you can think of in the world. It's got 11,000 concepts. So it pretty much can tag anything if you're not sure how you're going to use it. Again, moderation, logo detection. So it'll tell you what logos it sees in those photos. Portrait quality, which will actually go through all your photos and tell you, is this a good photo or a bad photo based on certain criteria like red eye or other types of image classifications. What patterns and textures. This is again great for like cataloging like inventory or maybe like clothing or any sort of like blankets or rugs I've seen other people use, travel and wedding. So these are our public models that skills that we've taught Clarifai and how to see, and you can call that with our API. Is that clear, Dave? Any questions on that?
No, it sort of makes sense. It's yeah. I'm gonna if my focus is I just need to identify food, I'm just gonna use your food APIs essentially.
Exactly. Yeah. And if you don't know which model makes sense, go ahead and use a general model that can classify a large variety of set of things.
Okay.
Yeah. Cool. So let me go back to that tab. We kind of went over the public models and we did a little use case showcasing how David looks like Eric Idle. Yeah. And then, so then we have the search and create. So let me go ahead and showcase some examples of that. So essentially for search, we have, as soon as you sign up, you get put into our developer portal. And from there, you can kind of create an application. And in the application, you can upload tons of inputs. And these inputs are photos. And from here, we have a pre-made example where we've uploaded tons of kind of apparel photos. These are concepts. And if you ever wanted to just search, basically, you just upload your photos to us. And then you can search for whatever we automatically tag. So you can say, show me all men's socks. And these are not tags that you manually put on. These are tags that Clarifai automatically tagged. And then right now you can see here are all the different types of men's socks that you have in inventory. Again, this is great for organization, search, and discovery, and one of our biggest use cases. And then finally, the other thing I want to showcase is create. So this is what I love about Clarifai. Basically teaching Clarifai and how to see the world like I do. And I'm going to showcase a couple of examples. So let me start with a story. Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, so I could, if you don't have a model that I think applies to me, let's say I want to, I have a bar, I want to build an app that I have a bunch of bottles of alcohol. I want Clarifai to, yes, read the label, but also maybe tell me how full the bottle, estimate the volume of liquid in the bottle or something just based on the photo. I can create my own skill.
Yes, exactly.
Understand. Got it.
Yeah, totally. And I think that's what the power of Clarifai is, right? So we have these skills and we've taught it, but the real customization power comes from that. So let me go ahead and showcase some examples. Let me share my screen again. All right, cool. Can you see that? Okay. All right, so one of the skills I'm creating, teaching Clarifai right now is so there's this burger shop in New York that's pretty famous. I think it's famous in the USA, Shake Shack. And it's so famous that they had to have a line cam here, and it's really early. It's 7:16 over here, so it's closed. Obviously, there's no one to line now. But they had to have a line cam for. Oh, let me go back. There we go. They had to have a line camera set up so people know when to actually go there and when not to go, because it would always be crowded. So what I decided to do for a skill to teach Clarify is estimate the time length, right? I don't want to keep looking at this camera feed. I want to just know, is this a 5-minute time wait? Is this a 2-minute time wait? Is this over 30 minutes? And have that going. So what I did was, in Clarify, I created an application. And from here, I just uploaded a bunch of photos, screenshots of that camera feed. And from there, quickly estimated how long it would take. And this was kind of tedious. It wasn't actually like, estimating time length is not a fun task, but it's a one-time thing. So from there, I estimated, and you can click on these photos, and we can, I created these concepts in numbers. So I said 6, and then, and then I just tagged this as 6. And then every time I tagged it, I would train the model. And so then it would start learning that, okay, this is a 6-minute time wait. If I click on 0 over here, it'll showcase, here are all the images I trained for 0-minute time wait. Right? And then if I click on 10, now it'll showcase, here are all the images I trained for a 10-minute time wait. And then I created this app then using this that sends a photo to Clarify and then calls on this model. And then from there, the model will return back one of these concepts based on whatever we've trained it for. So we're going to go ahead and run that. And then I call the app Smart Burger, aptly. And we're going to head run that. And please work. The wait time is currently at Shake Shack is 0 minutes. Which is probably the easiest one to estimate since no one is there. Yeah, so that to me is one of the best parts of Clarify. If you have a custom problem, you can solve it by just kind of giving us photos and training concepts based on that. One that I made for my parents is the garage door open or closed? For whatever reason, every time they leave, they always forget if the garage door is open or closed. So I went ahead and created 2 concepts, garage door open or closed. And then I had a Nest Cam set up in the garage, and it would always take photos. And whenever it saw the garage door was open for more than 5 minutes, it used an SMS API to let them know that, hey, the garage door is open, you might want to close it. So you can think of anything with custom training to solve.
No, this is exciting. I mean, it kind of has my wheels turning a little bit because it's kind of limitless right now on what people could build with this. So it's really something new that I have not been exposed to, and I'm sure a lot of our developers haven't yet. So it's the wheels are really turning in my head of like, oh man, what kind of exciting things can be built for small businesses. So yeah, it's really, really exciting. Just a reminder before you jump into kind of your next demo, anybody who's attending live right now, please use the Q&A panel to ask any questions along the way, and I will get those out there to Kunal. And then if you're on Facebook Live, you could just use the comments, and I will go flip back over there and read those out loud as well. So just a reminder, you can ask questions along the way, and we'll answer those.
Awesome. So I wanted to just kind of run through this really quickly, some of our models. So Clarify has 3 different types of models. And again, a model is kind of a skill that we've taught Clarify how to see, right? So in that Shake Shack one, that was like a custom trained skill that I just taught it how to see, know time estimates for Shake Shack lines. Very custom, not something that's going to be used by a large variety of people, but solves my purpose. And these type of models are called classification, which means that we just give a photo and it gives us back a concept. Clarify actually has 2 other types of models. One is identification models, so face detection is an identification model, where a detection model, where not only will it give you back concepts, it can also give you back coordinates, right? So you can see that here are the faces in an application, and it'll also it'll give you the regions around it. So we have one over here for face detection, where you can count faces, count people using this. A cool app we've seen built with this was where every time you uploaded a photo, it would just blur the faces out. Kind of an interesting use case. The other detection model we have is celebrities, where again, not only does it tell you the coordinates, the bounding box of a face, it'll give you back the concept of who the celebrity is. And then the demographics model. So again, when you give us a photo, you get back the coordinates, but then you also get back kind of how feminine or masculine that facial person appears, an approximate age, and then what type of multicultural appearance they have. And lastly, we have embedding models. So embedding models, I don't think I tend to see a lot at hackathons, uses of them. But pretty much an embedding model is kind of that last layer of a neural network. And if you don't like back the concepts we give you, whatever that may be. So like, again, we mentioned that coffee cup example, if we see a coffee cup, we'll return coffee cup. If you don't like that, we give back the actual embedding vector, right? And this is just, you can think of it as coordinates in like a big dimensional plane. And from there, you basically take this 1024-bit vector and you can classify that to whatever your own taxonomy is, right? So whatever concept you want to have, you can do that. You don't have to custom train your own model. Just use us, and then you can kind of tag those different images with that. And so this you tend to see not so much at hackathons, maybe some other businesses tend to use this. I did see one person use face embeddings at a hackathon where they were actually searching for missing people. So they would get the facial embeddings of missing people, and then they would compare it with the facial embeddings that they saw on people on social media. And if it was really close, there's like no distance, it would be a match. Really cool app, something to think about. But yeah, so there's 3 different types of models: classification, identification, and then embeddings. Awesome. Are there any questions, by the way, coming?
We did get one in. I was gonna just hold off on it a little bit. Is starting to get into like, are there some small businesses examples that you've already heard about, or small businesses that are actually utilizing Clarifai yet to help run their business, or have you crossed that bridge yet?
Yeah. So I believe OpenTable, whenever you go over there, anytime you upload food items, it automatically classifies that into what type of food items are uploaded. So that's, again, goes back into organization, and that's how they use us. And then obviously a ton of sites use us for moderation for, is it safe for work, not safe for work, before they put any sort of user-generated content. The demographics model that I showed before tends to be pretty big for kind of like marketers for targeted advertising. What else? We use, I'm not sure if anyone here is familiar with Pook, P-O-O-Q. It's like the Korean version of Netflix. They tagged all of their videos with Clarifai. So whenever you want to search for a video that has certain scenery, like snow with a certain type of celebrity, you can just search for that, and that's how, and they use Clarifai to tag all that information.
Got it. So it sounds like, I mean, as far as like specifically for our world, right, the small business world, it's still pretty much unscratched. It's just wide open.
It's wide open. It's wide open. Yeah, and like that's the whole thing of custom training. Whatever you can think of, whatever you can imagine, you can build with that. Yeah. So I think those tend to be the biggest use cases. Things I want to showcase are documentation. If you want to, it's easy to get there. You can go to clarifai.com/docs. Takes you right to this page where you see right now. If you want to get started, we have quick start examples over here in a bunch of languages. You can kind of see, predict, search, train to build your own models to get quickly started. And then our guide, which is kind of our comprehensive documentation to kind of get you started. You can kind of see how you can start, predictions. Everything is copy and pasteable. Basically, these are full programs with all the imports in there. If you want to get started, you can just go copy and paste it and run it. Really cool. And then the last thing I want to showcase is, so far, everything I've showed is an API. We do have a mobile SDK right now that's in beta. that is available for use for everyone at the event. So I just wanted to show an example of an application built with that SDK. And the main difference with the SDK is it lives on device, so it doesn't hit the internet. You don't have to have something constantly hitting our API. Everything is local on device, and then you can see a sneak peek into my apartment here. And then you can kind of see what Clarifai is seeing in the world. So I have a little puzzle that I'm working on. You can see out the window here in New York.
Cool, impressive.
Right, and then not only that, on device, we can also train concepts, right? So like I showcased before with that Shake Shack thing over here, we can train this view here as a puzzle. And then point away. Oh no. Live example, guys.
That's how the demo gods work.
I know. But so everything is on device. That's one of the awesome benefits of the mobile SDK. Right now, this is available with Objective-C and Swift. And then if I go back into the documentation here, you can see how to get started with that. If I just go to Objective-C over here, and then we'll have the Swift code there before the event.
Okay, that's great.
Yeah, awesome.
And then, so you're actually coming to the event, is that correct?
That's right.
You are, okay. And what prizes are you going to bring? Everybody's always worried about the prizes.
I'm glad you asked. We have 4 Fitbit Blazers. We've seen that these things go fast, so yeah, everyone in the team is going to get a Fitbit Blaze.
Oh, that's awesome. That's great.
Yeah.
Cool. And then, so it's really interesting because I look at you coming on, and then if you really start stepping back, and so we have the QuickBooks API, right? And that's the accounting part of the world, right? But then I look at like your other sponsors. So Estimotes, like these little beacons, they're like low voltage, low distance. It's low bandwidth Bluetooth, I think is what it's officially referred to, right? But they detect temperature and motion, and there's about 14 things these little devices can detect. So you combine that with the image detection that you can do, right? And then you combine that with Nexmo, who they don't actually do voice processing, but Nexmo is really between voice and text. It's a communication, right? APIs. And so, but then they can tie those back to like Google's assistant under the covers, right? So really, like all of a sudden, you're taking like a small business room or a warehouse or who knows what it is, and you can really start to interact with the environment through the APIs that are going to be here at the hackathon. It's really, really interesting concept.
Oh yeah, totally. I would love to see like those mashups, all 4 of that together. Like I can't wait for that. Yeah.
So is there like any like limitations as far as like, oh, if you have a junky webcam? I mean, obviously you had the webcam, so maybe there's not, and me asking this is kind of pointless, but are there more reliable ways like, oh yeah, everything should be a nice high quality photo with the thing I need to teach it perfectly in the center, or is it kind of use your webcam photo, use your laptop, doesn't matter?
Yeah. I haven't seen any limitations so far in the photo quality. Basically, whatever you want to train, as long as it's discernible by your eyes, it should be discernible, through Clarifai. When it comes to training, I would say at least have like 3 images of a certain type of concept when you train it. The other thing that most people don't take into consideration is when we do training, it looks at the whole image, right? So if you've trained everything on a white background, then Clarifai, and then all of a sudden, in time of demo, it's like a totally different background color. That might affect some of the results that you get back. So like, make sure that if there's going to be lots of different colors in the background, you vary that up a little so Clarifai knows what to look at in your training set.
Okay. And we always, before everybody pitches, we have a pitch rehearsal.
Yeah.
Before the final pitches, so people can test all their tech and all. So I'll also have to keep that in mind. Like, hey, if you're using Clarifai, you need to make sure you really have to test that your image capture is working once you're up on the stage.
Right. Exactly.
A little different environment. No, this is great. This is great. And so I know it's is the developer site itself just go to Clarify and the whole site's a developer site, or do you have like clarify.com/developers? Like,
Yeah, no, good question. So Clarifai itself is just our product is an API. So go to clarifai.com. On the top right, you're going to see a button. Let me just go to it right now. In the top right, you're going to see a button saying "Get your free API key." Once you sign up, you're going to see a form, and then it's going to take you to a welcome page. And from that welcome page, you can get here to manage your applications. So just create your new application. When you do, you can just kind of put in any name. So like I'm going to call it Intuit. And then from here, you can go ahead and create an app. And then if you want to get started with training your own application, you can click on this little eyeball if you want to make a custom app. And then from there, you can kind of start dragging and dropping photos and creating concepts. And it's really intuitive and easy to get started from there. And I'll be there as well if you have any questions.
All right, cool. No, it seems, I mean, it's really interesting because at some level, this seems very simple, right? Like, but it's really like, oh, wow, it's okay. So what do you build? It's got my wheels turning right this morning. Coffee hasn't fully kicked in, but I mean, what are some things like, obviously you interact with small businesses. Have you seen any scenarios where you're like, oh, geez, this could be solved with Clarifai? Have you ever came across anything like that?
So I was reading an article on Business Insider just showcasing how there's no way to measure what people watch on their laptops. Or like, I was just thinking in my head, I'm like, this is so solvable with Clarifai where it can just kind of see the different screenshots or what people are watching. If it's kind of like those boxes we have here in the US that certain set of people have where it can track what people are watching. The Nielsen rated boxes. I don't know if you're familiar.
Okay,
yeah. So I was thinking that's a quick thing that Clarifai can solve. It's easy to make like kind of Shazam for like video or photos kind of stuff using Clarifai in the background. So that's quick and easy. Sensors, right? Like you don't have to always have kind of like door sensors or things like that for IoT devices. You can have a camera facing a large set of things like your stove and choose the stove on or off, doors open or closed, the garage doors open or closed, lights are on or off. It's really great for that.
So I think some easy use because I know there's a lot of time clock apps, right? And a lot of them now are starting to do some sort of kiosk where it uses face detection to clock employees in and out.
Yeah.
In theory, you could, instead of building that from scratch and inventing that tech, you could implement your APIs to do that face recognition.
Exactly. So we don't have that yet. We have face detection. And
okay.
We're working on custom face training where we assign like a concept only for the face. So it doesn't look at everything else. You can create custom faces right now, but it'll also take a look at the background as well. But we're just making it so then it takes away the background automatically. You don't have to worry about that. It'll only just train it.
So it's coming. Got it. Cool.
It's doable now, but it'll get better.
It's standard. Yeah. I guess if you had a fixed location for that, the background wouldn't matter, right? If it was a fixed kiosk, right?
Exactly.
It'd always be the same background.
So if the fixed location's there, it'll work. But if there's no fixed location, then that will come.
Got it. And then as far as like, where do you touch on? Is that one thing is that I know it's easy to say what the items I have in my warehouse or from my e-commerce site or whatever. But in many cases, like all that stuff's going to be packaged possibly, right? You're just kind of scanning around and it's all packaged up. What, how are you with barcodes? Like, do you get very specific into that type of identification where you're reading the barcode information, or you can pump that back out to the API results or?
Yeah. So that's not something Clarifai focuses in on. But then again, nothing's impossible to Clarifai. That would just need a much larger training set to start discerning between different barcodes. But yeah, like that's not something we focus on.
Got it. It's interesting. I was at a startup weekend about 4 or 5 years ago, and one of the ideas somebody had, but I don't think the tech was around, right, to do this. But like, let's say you just have a pile of Legos, and you could just take a photo of the Legos, right? And it would be able to tell you, like, here's all the different things you could build with that pile of Legos, right? So it could be an interesting. You could totally train, based on these Lego pieces. It could go out to do inventory, of what sets you can build based on the Legos it sees in that photo, which is kind of interesting.
No, it's awesome. somewhat similar. I saw an app being built where it was someone took a photo of their pantry, and then they used our food model, and then it would just kind of, take a look at all the items in the pantry and then see what recipes they can make from that.
Cool. That's actually, yeah, that's very disruptive to Blue Apron and those places. like you could either get a box with all in it, or you can just use what's in your pantry, though. That's
Exactly.
cool. Perfect. Let me just check, make sure that I see if anybody else has any live questions coming in here. I don't think I see any there. Let me pop into Facebook here. Yeah, I mean, it seems very self-explanatory, so there's not a lot of questions coming in. Pricing, I know that like one of the APIs, that because it uses like SMS text messaging, there's some pricing, so they kind of have like a gift card or whatever. Gift card's not the right term, but developers at the hackathon can get X member for free because they're attending the hackathon. Do you have anything that the developers need to be aware of in regards to that?
Yeah. So we have a pretty large free tier, kind of like 5,000 operations a month are free. And then for the developers at the event, we're going to up that as well with more credits.
Okay.
But yeah, like it's 5,000 operations a month for free forever.
All right. So hopefully in one weekend, you don't exceed that.
Yeah. But we got you covered if you do.
It's just the case. Okay, cool. Perfect. Awesome. I don't have any other questions. No other questions are coming in. Is there any final thoughts that you have?
Just we're excited to be there. We'll be flying in Thursday. So yeah, if there's any questions, please email hackers@clarifai.com, and then happy to answer anything beforehand.
Got it. And then what about getting a hold of you on Twitter, or is Clarifai on Twitter?
Yeah. You can get a hold of Clarifai, tweet at Clarifai, or you can tweet at me at Kunal732.
Awesome. Perfect. Thanks for joining. I do appreciate it. And I'll see you 7-8 days from now. We'll next time I talk to you, we'll be in London for the hackathon. It should be great. And everybody that's joined this morning, thanks for joining. If you're watching after the fact on YouTube, hopefully we'll see you next week at the hackathon. Bye, everybody.
All right. Take care.